Shalom, shalom. Kahala Yahweh Bashmi Al Shai. Bashim Rakakodash Brakata. Double honors the apostles and elders of the great millstone rule well. And citation to the brethren on the four corners of the earth, pushing word and truth and sincerity. And I wanted to do a quick video on Sirach, the 36th chapter. Reason being is because, as the times start to roll down, more important prophecies start to come to pass. The scriptures say, hasten the day. So what we are to do is to pray more and more for the downfall of society, man. On top of going out on highways and byways, on top of doing our studio shows, doing, miscellaneous videos on the side, teaching class, we are to pray as well, The scriptures say pray without ceasing. So I'm just going to jump right into it. This is Sirach, 36th chapter, in the first verse. And this is a prayer that Solomon said to the Lord, praying for the downfall of our enemies. This is Sirach, 36th chapter, verse 1. It says, have mercy upon us, O Lord, power of all, and behold us, and send thy fear upon all the nations that seek not after thee. Lift up thy hand against the strong nations, slack against the strange nations, and let them see thy power. And that's what Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai is doing at the moment, but he's going to do it in a more spectacular fashion when the chip is implemented, when World War III pops off. When he brings those chariots down to destroy America, man, As thou wast sanctified in us before them, so be thou magnified among them before us, And you got to remember, during this whole 5,000 year process, that since man's been on the earth, the Lord has done nothing but do things to show his power, and to show that he rules in the kingdom of men. So when the Lord finally destroys Babylon, it's going to be a wonderful work. The scriptures say that he does a wonderful work, and it's going to be more glorious than when he brought us up out of Egypt, man. Roughly paraphrasing, it's going to be said no longer that he brought the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt, but out of the land of the north. It says, and let them know thee as we have known thee, that there is no power but only thou, O God. So it's going to prove all that these false gods, Jesus Christ, this Buddha, this Satan himself, are false gods, man. He's going to prove to the world that, look, I am, I'm Yahweh, and I rule in the kingdom of men. Show new signs and make other strange wonders, So you should be praying for more signs in the air, man. More blood red moons, more eclipses, more diverse weather patterns, things that can't be explained by modern science. It says, glorify thy hand and thy right arm, that they may set forth thy wondrous works, meaning his power in his right arm, man, which is Yahweh Shai, that they may set forth thy wondrous works. And one of the wondrous works is the glorification and the salvation of Israel, man, along with the chariots, the angels, the various natural disasters, It says, raise up indignation and pour out wrath, take away the adversary and destroy the enemy, man. So he's going to raise up indignation, his righteous anger, and he's going to use that anger and propel it to use as a weapon to destroy the so-called white man, And he's going to do it through the prophecies. I have a precept here. This is Jeremiah chapter 16, verse 4. Slakia. Yep, 16 verse 14. I knew that was the wrong scripture. There we go. This is Jeremiah 16 and 14. And I just quoted this. It says, therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that it shall no more be said, the Lord liveth, that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. But the Lord liveth, that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north, which is North America, and from the lands whither he hath driven them, which is all over the world, man, because scriptures say we're supposed to be scattered like the sands of the sea. And I will bring them again into their land that I gave unto their fathers, So he's going to take us from our respective lands of captivity, and he's going to bring us into our own land, which is, the kingdom of heaven. This is Isaiah, the 34th chapter, in the first verse. It says, "Come near, ye nations, to hear, and hearken, ye people. Let the earth hear, and all that is therein, the world and all things that come forth of it." So listen up. This is what the Lord has to say, man. This is the message, the gospel that has to go out over the whole earth. "For the indignation of the Lord is upon all nations." Let me read that again. "For the indignation of the Lord is upon all nations." So his anger is upon all nations, man. That's why when we read in the Sirach, the 36th chapter, in the 7th verse, for the Lord to raise up indignation, in his fury upon all armies, he hath utterly destroyed them. He hath delivered them to the slaughter. Their slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come up out of their carcasses. And not only will they be slain, by the angels when the heavenly army comes down to rid, the other nations and to dethrone them, but they're also going to be cast out as dung and be destroyed and slaughtered during this mass chaos, man. This thermonuclear war, the fire, the world, the third world's war. You know how many people died in the first two wars? This war is going to be literally the war to end all wars, man. You have the martial law, you got the race riots. There's a lot of people that's going to get destroyed and get slaughtered, and get mutilated and killed, man. And think about the drug cartels and the chaos that's going on in Mexico. I don't know if you brothers ever watched the movie Sicario. When you watch the movie Sicario, you get a glimpse of how they kidnap and they kill and they mutilate bodies down there, man. Sicario is totally reckless down there. But think of that. How they mutilate bodies and hang them up on telephone poles and stuff like that. Think of that times, 1,000,000 in America, and in nations all over the world, It says the stink shall come up out of their carcasses, and the reason being is because people are going to die and they're just going to be left there, There aren't going to be any caskets, ain't going to be no funerals, They're going to lie there and they're going to decompose right where they died at, man. And their mountains shall be melted with their blood, and that's the thermonuclear missiles, man. And all the host of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll. So this is future prophecy, man. This is what's going to happen. You got guys out there saying that there are no nuclear missiles, man. The ICBM missile so-called doctrine is a hoax, right? What else can melt mountains? It has to be some type of heat. And that heat can only come from the hottest thing on this planet Earth, man, which are the thermonuclear missiles, man. It's common sense. And all their hosts shall fall down as the leaf falleth off from the vine, and as a falling fig from the fig tree. So they're all just going to fall off, man. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, bathed in heaven meaning the heaven of this world, man. This is the first heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea. And that shows you not like now, okay, this is the first heaven, but now it's calling out a place, Idumea. Okay, well, what is this place? It's a mountainous region. Who dwells in that mountainous region? Esau, man. But of course, there are no Edomites in Idumea now. It represents wherever Esau dwells at the moment, man. And upon the people of my curse to judgment, So now you have the Edomites who are going to be judged, and then you have the other nations, man, the people of my curse, to judgment, man. So the nations are not getting away with enslaving the nation of Israel, man. The Lord is going to show his power, and he's going to show his power magnificently. And this is what we pray for, man. We hasten for this day. In the name of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai Ba'ashem Kodash. So let me go back to Sirach 36th chapter in the 8th verse. It says, sake the time short. Remember the covenant and let them declare thy wonderful works. It says, sake the time short, man. You know? So you want to also wish that the time is short. That's what I said. That's what I just meant by hasten the day, man. You want to pray that the time gets shorter and shorter, you know, so that we get closer and closer to the end. This is Matthew chapter 24, verse 22. And this is the reason why. It says, and except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. You know, because if it leave up to Esau, man, Esau's going to destroy everyone. You know, hell, leave up Esau, he's not even going to fulfill his world war order, man. You know, leave him to his own devices, he'll kill every living thing on the planet. I remember there was this documentary on the History Channel called Life After People. And on the documentary, every week or every installment of the episode, every episode of this documentary would go into however so many years after, you know, people become extinct. And it was always after a nuclear fallout. And it would go like, you know, it went from like day one without people. And then it went to like, I think it went to like up to a couple of years without people. And it showed how different things would break down and different habitats would break down, but new habitats would be formed, man. And it showed the earth as a green, lush place. That's the earth rejuvenating itself after the World War. But why would they even have to think about life after people, man? Because they know that it leave it up to the world, man, Esau and the world, that this whole world will be destroyed and every living person in it, man. That's why the Lord has to come back and give us salvation. It's back in Matthew 24 and 22. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. You know? Because we're hastening the day for the kingdom, man. You know? So for our sake, you know, Lord willing, I'm in that number, but for our sake, those days should be shortened, man. You know? So we don't get to see the devil in his full sufficiency, you know? In his full might of demonic power, man. This is verse 9. It says, let him that escapeth be consumed by the rage of the fire, and let them perish that oppress the people, man. You know? And it says, let him that escapeth be consumed with the rage of the fire. You know? Because Esau is going to try to escape his judgment, man. But he's going to try to escape into outer space, into those space satellites, those space colonies trying to build in other countries. I mean, not other countries, but other planets. You know, he's trying to figure out if there's a planet another planet in the solar system that can sustain life. You know, he's trying to figure out if he can dig into the earth and create these deep underground military bases where he can have fallout shelters. You know, but the Lord has a plan for that also, man. What Esau doesn't realize, because he's carnal, is that the Lord has a contingency plan for every possible situation and scenario. Because he created everything. So he knows how men on earth thinks. You know? This is Amos, the 9th chapter. And let me start at verse 2. It says, though they dig into hell, thence shall mine hand take them. You know, so there, like I said, with the example I just gave with the deep underground military bases, and Esau's going to try and dig into hell and take shelter there, man. But the Lord is going to have angels pull them out of there. You know, hell, he might have his men, the prophets, those spiritual powers go down there and get them, man. You know, though they climb up to heaven, thence will I bring them down. You know, so he might have the same thing happen to the Esau that tries to go into outer space, man. You know, NASA has these space programs about exploring outer space. You got Richard Branson, the Mobile Virgin guy. He's been building space stations and spacecrafts to go into outer space, charging for tickets. You have Trump with his new Space Force. You know, the Lord is going to destroy all of this. Verse 3, it says, and though they hide themselves in the top of Carmel, I will search and take them out thence. And though they be hid from my sight in the bottom of the sea, thence will I command the serpent, and he shall bite them. So even if they try to go into the sea, man, the Lord's going to bring a Leviathan out, you know, and other creatures newly created, you know, to destroy him in his sufficiency. let's see. This is back in Sirach 36. This is verse 10. It says, smite and sunder the heads of the rulers of the heathen, which would be the elites, man, the chief men of all the nations. I'm not talking about the punk ass president of the United States, man. I'm talking about the Rothschilds, the DuPonts, the Gettys, the Oppenheimers, the Rockefellers, hell, the Nickelodeons, the Disneys. It says, smite and sunder the heads of the rulers of the heathen that say there is none other but we. Because they believe that they're the Most High, because they're able to say things that are going to happen and then put that plan in motion to make it happen, They're able to have power over life and death in this society. So they honestly think that they're the Most High, man, because they have not honestly been touched yet. But the scriptures say, though judgment is not executed speedily, So just because it's not coming to you right now doesn't mean it's not going to come. And lo, the Lord saith, man, it will come, This is this is Isaiah, the 24th chapter, and the 21st verse. It says, and it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall punish the host of the high ones that are on high, So you got the high ones that are on high, and you got the heads of the rulers, man, which are the same exact people, the so-called kings of this earth. It says, and the kings of the earth upon the earth, and they shall be gathered together as prisoners are gathered in the pit. So that's slavery, man. And they shall be shut up in the prison, and after many days they shall be visited. So they're going to be rounded up, man, like horses, like animals, and they're going to be thrown into prison, thrown into slavery, man, because these men have not worked a day in their lives. They haven't had to suffer. They haven't had to go hungry, but they put all the hell on the nation of Israel, man. What the scriptures say, the Lord is displeased at the heathen because they forwarded the affliction, and these are they that forwarded the affliction, man. So the Lord isn't going to let them slide, not at all. This is back in Sirach, chapter 36, verse 10. It says, smite and sunder the heads of the rulers of the heathen that say, there is none other but we. Gather all the tribes of Jacob together, and inherit thou them as from the beginning. So all the 12 tribes of Jacob are going to be, or the 12 tribes of Israel will be brought back together. And then when we're brought back together, that's when the end of this world will come, and the Lord will inherit us, and we will inherit Him, and we will have an everlasting kingdom, man. Here on earth. This is Amos, chapter 9, verse 11. It says, in that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close up the breaches thereof. And I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as in the days of old. So the Lord's going to raise the tabernacle of David like He's doing now, with everyone on the highways and byways teaching and, and raising up in the spirit. And He's going to close up the breaches thereof, man. Meaning that the door to salvation is going to be closed, and it's going to be a tight-knit family, the elect, And I'll raise up His ruins, and I will build it as in the days of old. And in the days of old, those days were the days of King David when we were in our might, And that's coming back in the kingdom of heaven. And that's what we have to look forward to, man. And that's what we should be praying every day for. So, I just wanted to say a couple words concerning Sirach 36th chapter because I read it all the time. And I just thought, I'd do a show on it. So with that, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakak Kwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders, great millstone well. And salutation to the brethren in the four corners of the earth, pushing the word and truth and in sincerity. Shalom.